Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome to the 3-day Leaky Gut Workshop. I'm so excited about this. This is something I do every year, and it's so impactful because whether you have gut issues now or you don't, or you have other symptoms, or you just want to optimize your health and prevent disease in the future, this workshop is for everybody because everybody has a gut and everybody is susceptible to leaky gut. And there's not very much information out about it. So I really want to empower you all with the information that you need to be able to keep your gut really strong, because we cannot have a strong, healthy body without a strong gut. It's just not possible. So that's why we're here today, to talk about all of the things that have to do with leaky gut and really give you the tools to be able to improve it. So say hello as you come on, and give me a hashtag replay if you are here watching the replay. And I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat. I would love questions. I would love comments. I would love whatever you want to say. If you just want to chat, I'm always here to chat. So I like it to be interactive, so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. So say hello. Drop in the chat where you're watching from. I am up near Seattle, Washington, and it is dark and gray and gloomy and rainy and stormy today. So I feel like my little kitten eyes haven't opened all the way yet, even though it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But supposedly it's supposed to get really nice this weekend and be in the high 60s, which is going to be amazing. So tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Say hello. I love to know who's here with me. And give me a hashtag replay if you are watching the replay. So welcome, everybody. I want to give you a little overview of what we're going to do for the next 3 days. So, I broke it up into 3 days because there's three different parts to this. And I want to break it down so that it's really easy for you to understand and digest and all of that. And I really want to make it very clear, because there's so much misinformation out there. There's so much just information out there, right? That it can get really super confusing. Like, give me a yes in the comments if you get overwhelmed, because there's so much information out there between your doctor and your best friend and the internet and, some other influencer, whatever it might be. And all these people say different things. And at the end of the day, we feel paralyzed because we don't truly know what the best thing to do is, and we don't really know who to trust. So let me know in the comments if that resonates with you, because I know it resonates with me, and it's hard to weed through all that information to really know what's right. And so I want to give you the scientific background behind this. Day one, I want you to understand why leaky gut happens, how it affects our body, what it is, because this is one of the most important things you can know to take care of yourself for the rest of your life. I want to repeat that. This is one of the most important things that you can know to take care of yourself for the rest of your life. If you know this information that I'm going to tell you today, you can prevent all kinds of disease from happening down the road. Like, who out there would like to prevent all those things that we see going on with older people, right? People always say, like, oh, it sucks getting older. It's not getting old. It's the damage that we're doing to our body and not repairing it and not preventing more damage that's making people old and making people have all this disease. Just getting old does not equal disease. It doesn't have to happen, and we can prevent it. So the information I'm going to give you in this 3 days is going to help you live a long, healthy life. I want you to extend your health span. So we've all heard of your lifespan. That's the number of years you live. But I want to extend your health span, which is the number of years you live healthfully without pain or disease. So your lifespan could be 90 years, but your health span might only be 65 or less. If you're already struggling now, it doesn't just get better. And so you might spend 30 or 40 years struggling before you pass. That's not what I want for you. I want your health span to equal your lifespan. So if I want your lifespan to be 90 and your health span to be 90, right? So that is the goal. That is why I do what I do. That's why I do these workshops. That's why I created my program. So if you don't know me, if you are new to the group or you haven't seen any of my workshops before, my name is Marissa. And I'm a certified transformational nutrition coach specializing in digestive health. And I created this group so I could share my journey and everything I've learned with people that need it, because there's so few places to turn for this information. And when I went through my gut health issues for 35 years, I had nowhere to turn. I didn't have a me. I didn't have a Facebook group. I didn't have a health coach that was trying to help me. I had doctors that were extremely unhelpful. Like, let me know in the comments. Tell me doctor in the comments. Drop that word. If you have been to doctors that have been extremely unhelpful, not saying all of them are, but there are some doctors that just are not there to help you feel better, right? So let me know if that resonates with you, because it's so disheartening. And I just had a meeting with a client yesterday, and she was almost in tears about the way her last doctor treated her. And so that's what I had. I had doctors. This was kind of before, Instagram and all of this stuff. And so it took me 10 years from feeling like crap every day, feeling like I was going to throw up every time I ate, being bloated, having acne, having anxiety, having insomnia, to now, 45 years old, I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. And what I want to do is take that 10 years and go and shrink it down for you, because I don't want anyone to wait another 10 years to feel good. The way I feel today, I can't put into words how amazing it is to not have to worry about your gut and not have anxiety and not be awake at night and not have a face that's broken out so bad you don't want to leave the house, or whatever it is for you. If it's, constipation or loose stools or that big bloated, uncomfortable belly, or heartburn so bad you have to sit up in your sleep, or, autoimmune issues, psoriasis, eczema, skin issues, all of these things affect your life. And so I want to take whatever time it's about to take you to feel better and shrink it down. And that's what I do for my clients. Shrink it down into 4 months. I take every tool that you need, put it into a step-by-step simple program for you to completely feel better in that 4 months. And so that is why we're here. We're going to talk about getting you your next best steps to feel that way. So let me see. Do we have any comments? Oh, hi from Oro Valley, Arizona. Sunny and 78. Oh, that sounds so nice, Karen. Oh my gosh, I'm jealous. I am freezing cold right now. But I'll be in Arizona in a week and a half. So good for me. We're going to go watch baseball. So I'll keep an eye on the comments. Go ahead and drop any questions that you have along the way in the comments. And I'm going to share my screen. So we're going to go over the exact what, why, and how of leaky gut. Like, how do you even know you're in the right place to be in this workshop, right? So, and basically, if you're a living human being, this workshop is going to benefit you. I don't care who you are, because everyone has a gut and everyone needs to know how to protect it, right? Even if you don't have these symptoms right now, we want to prevent them from happening. So this information is important for everybody. So I would love it if you would share this with anyone who you think needs it. This is important for our kids. Like, this is really important to know for our children, because our kids' food is just about the worst food on the planet. Sometimes they get multiple rounds of antibiotics. There's many, many, many chemicals coming in and out of their body. So this is a good thing for moms to know as well, right? So I'm going to share my screen and we'll just go over the ins and the outs of leaky gut today. It's going to be we'll be here for another 20 minutes or so. I want to try and keep it short and to the point for you guys. So if you haven't been to any of my workshops before, this is what I base my entire program on, and everything that I do with my clients and everything that I teach you here in this group. If you want to have gut freedom, if you want to have no symptoms, be able to eat whatever you want, all of those good things, These are the 4 things that you need to have. And we want these 4 things to be strong. We want them to be at 100% or as close to 100% as possible, right? And if we don't have all 4 of these things, then there's going to be a little bit of something off in the body. There's going to be imbalance in the body. And so this is really super important because so many people think that it's just about food. And it's about so much more than food. Our health, our gut issues is about so much more than food. Food is one pillar. See here, it's one pillar, and we need all 4 of these pillars: nutrition, the gut microbiome, which we're going to talk about, detoxification, and the gut-brain connection. If we don't have all 4 of these things strong, then this is what can happen to your health home. And you can see here, a happy belly just can't happen if we don't build these 4 pillars really strong. So if you think about building your health home so that it can withstand anything that comes its way, we have to work on all 4 of these pillars and get them built up strong. And every training I do in this group has to do with one of these 4 pillars or more. Everything that comes with having optimum health and feeling the best you've ever felt in your life has to do with these 4 pillars. And leaky gut encompasses all 4 of them. Some things that we talk about in this group are under one pillar. Leaky gut is all 4. So it's really important that we pay attention to leaky gut because it encompasses everything we need to build our health home really strong. And so here are some common leaky gut related symptoms. Now, most people think that gut issues means diarrhea, constipation, bloating, indigestion, stomach pains, things like that. But there's so much more to it because everything begins in the gut. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said all disease begins in the gut. And you're going to learn today why that's possible. So leaky gut related symptoms: bloating, heartburn, indigestion. Like, I feel like those are just the things that like everyone would raise their hand if I was in a room of 500 people right now. Who has bloating and heartburn and indigestion? Everyone would be like, yeah, I do. These things are common, but they're not normal, and they don't have to be normal for you. Loose stools, constipation or hard stools, brain fog. Like, I think we all know what that brain fog feels like, right? Hard to concentrate, hard to remember things, hard to stay focused. Food intolerance. Drop a food in the comments if you've ever had reactions to specific foods. What kind of foods? Let me know in the comments what kind of foods you've had reactions to. When I had my gut issues, I didn't know what I had reactions to because it was seemingly everything. And I didn't even know that food intolerance or food sensitivities was even a thing until way later in my life. And then I started to put the pieces together. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it's not the food's fault. It's something going on in your gut. So if we just keep taking out all the foods that bother us, but without fixing the problem, you're just going to have to take out more foods for the rest of your life. You're going to end up eating, iceberg lettuce by the time you die, because it's not the food. If it was the food's fault, no one would be able to digest it. It's something going on in your gut. Nausea, skin issues, rashes, acne, psoriasis, eczema, anxiety and insomnia and depression. These all come from leaky gut. ADD, ADHD. Now, this isn't the only cause, but it can be related. Mood swings. Ooh, how many people have had terrible mood swings, whether it was hormonal or just having to do with your gut? And I don't know about you, but I take it out on my husband. Bless his heart. He's so patient with me. Like, he was with me when I had all my terrible gut issues. And believe me, he's a lot happier to have this wife now than the wife with the gut issues, right? Hormonal imbalances. Your gut is partially in charge of balancing your hormones. So if your gut is off, your hormones will be off. So I haven't had a bad period. Like, I used to have terrible periods, terrible, to where I was practically debilitated. And now my period comes and I'm like, oh, well, that's a surprise. I had no symptoms. So it doesn't have to be that way. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean you have to be affected by hormonal problems. Joint pain and autoimmunity, thyroid issues, rheumatoid arthritis, these things may stem from leaky gut. And then belly fat and weight gain. So when we have leaky gut, toxins leak through into the body. What happens? Our body is so smart. Fat cells hold onto the toxins. And so your body is being smart. And that's why some of that weight gain, some of that, especially belly fat, because the belly fat is protecting your internal organs. So your body is doing what it needs to do to keep you alive. And so that belly fat is there to protect you from those toxins that have snuck through your gut into your body. So all of these things can be related back to leaky gut. But the good news is that just by fixing leaky gut, we can address all of these symptoms at once. So maybe this sounds familiar to you. Have you ever gone to multiple doctors and all your tests are normal? Like you went to your GP, you went to your gastro, you went to your dermatologist, you went to the endocrinologist, and all these different people for all these different problems. And everyone just says, I don't know, your tests are normal. Just check back in 3 months. Oh, okay. Well, clearly something is not normal because I feel like shit. Like, don't just tell me this is normal, right? Or you've just been told to take omeprazole, Zantac, Miralax, Metamucil, Tums. Like, drop any of those in the comments that you have taken. And again, if I was in a room of 500 people, I bet almost all 500 people would raise their hand that they've taken all these things. Or have you done an elimination diet to get rid of those trigger foods, right? Just like I was just talking about, like, oh, tomatoes bother me, so I'm just going to never eat pizza again, or spaghetti, or, dairy bothers me, so I'll never have cheese or creamy pasta sauce or anything ever again. Like, that is so common, but not normal, right? These things are common, but not normal. And then have you just tried like multiple supplements that promise results? Like you see this thing on Instagram that's like, oh, it promises to get rid of your bloating, or it promises to get rid of your heartburn forever. All these things you've tried, give me a 1 to 4. Have you tried one of these things? 2, 3, maybe all 4? Because it would be very common for most people to say they've tried all 4. And if you still have your same issues, right, it's because we have not gotten to the root cause. So the root cause versus these Band-Aid issues. These are all Band-Aid issues. At the end of the day, you feel like you've wasted a bunch of time and energy and money, right? So then it deflates you and you don't want to try the next thing because you've tried all these. But these are Band-Aids. It's like having a gunshot wound and just slapping a big Band-Aid on top of it. And you never take out the bullet or sew it up. That's what people are doing with their gut issues. Omeprazole, Band-Aid. Elimination diet, Band-Aid, supplements, Band-Aid. We need to get to the root cause. And usually the root cause is leaky gut. So you may wonder why I have a picture of dandelions here. So it's like, if you have a bunch of dandelions in your yard and you go out and you just keep mowing your lawn and you're like, oh, my lawn looks great. It's nice and green. There's no more dandelions. And then you come out 3 days later and they're all back. This is what people are doing with their health issues, not just gut issues, but health issues overall. Mowing down the dandelions is like taking a medication so your symptoms go away. Cutting out the food that bothers you. Your problem is still there. Whatever caused your issue in the first place is still there. It's still happening. And it's going to come back just like those dandelions. So we need to get to the root cause. If you pull those dandelions out at the root, right? We all know this. We've all weeded our garden before. That's how we get them to go away. And so we need to do that with our health as well. So these are sort of the typical solutions that we see. And, over the hundreds of women that I've worked with, and they all come to me and I say, what have you tried? This is what everyone has tried. Their doctor says, well, let's do a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. They come back normal and then they send you on their way. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to try keto, or I'm going to try Atkins. Nah, that didn't work. I'm going to try Jenny Craig. Well, I'll try this. And these dietary changes aren't necessarily working. Over-the-counter meds, like every little symptom, we go to the drugstore because there is an over-the-counter med for everything. And so we just keep taking our Tums after we eat, or taking Zantac every day to prevent that heartburn. Or we just take a bunch of supplements. Like, I heard probiotics are good, so I'm just going to try one. And I heard that we all need a multivitamin, so I guess I'll try that. And I drink all my water. I've been really drinking my water. And then, my doctor said take Metamucil, so I'm adding fiber. Like, all of these things are the typical 98% of what everyone is doing to try and solve their problems. And as you can see, these things are addressing the very tippity tip of the iceberg, right? But what's really going on down below, that's the real way you're going to feel better, is addressing root cause issues. And this is a good example of what might be going on at the root of your issues. And today we're going to talk about this one, leaky gut. But as you can see, there's a whole bunch of other root causes. And that's what I do with my clients. We figure out the root cause and we address it there so that it doesn't come back, right? So these are root cause issues. Yes, this is what's going on underneath the iceberg, which is your body. But it goes even one level deeper than this. And so, yes, leaky gut is probably the root cause of your issues. But what is the root cause of your leaky gut? That's what we really need to find out. We need to keep asking why until we can't ask why anymore. Why do I have gut issues? Oh, I think it's leaky gut. Why do I have leaky gut? Oh, because of this. Why is that happening? Because of this. And then when we can't ask why anymore, that's your root cause. That's the problem we solve to get you feeling better, right? So we got to go a little bit deeper into this leaky gut issue to really figure out what's going on with you. So this is a really great way, because I've done leaky gut workshops before. You've heard me talk about leaky gut. You've probably seen it on Instagram or whatever. And I describe it as like a screen door. So you want your screen door to let the fresh air in, but not the bugs and the leaves, right? And that's kind of a very simplistic way of describing it, but that is how it is. You want your screen door, your gut lining, to let in vitamins and minerals and protein into your body. That's how you absorb your nutrients. And so we need little tiny holes in our gut lining so that we can absorb our nutrients. But what we also need, it's just a very simplistic way of describing it. What we also need is we have these tight junctions. So you can see here, there's all these cells that line up, and they do that. They make these like little fingers. They're called villi, because that increases the area of absorption. If your gut was just flat, we wouldn't be able to absorb enough nutrients. So we make these fingers in our gut lining to absorb all these nutrients. It comes out to be like 4,000 square feet or something of gut lining. And it's so thin. It's like one cell thin. And so we need a protection layer for these very, very important cells. And that is this mucosal barrier in this blue here. And so we need this mucosal barrier to be the protector of that very thin cellular lining of the gut, right? And that mucosal barrier will help keep out the toxins, because we have toxins coming into our body every day, and our body is really smart. It knows how to deal with them. But we're meant to excrete them. They come into our body and we excrete them out the other side, right? And that's fine. If the whole process works, then that's fine. So when the toxins come in, the mucus barrier holds those toxins out, and there's food particles, and there's bacteria, there's chemicals from our water, there's chemicals from our food, there's chemicals from our beauty products and our cleaning products, and you know, our world is very, very toxic these days. So that's up here. So these are the toxins, the bacteria, and the food particles. Now, we want the good bacteria to stay around, and a lot of the good bacteria sort of lives in and around this mucosal barrier. Your good bacteria is really your first line of defense. And so we want a lot of good bacteria, and we want the bad bacteria to get swept through and out the body. So it's really a 3-level process. So when I talk about leaky gut, I'm not just talking about that screen door. I'm talking about the bacteria, the mucosal barrier, and the tight junctions of your screen. Okay, so this is just a really great way to understand what is going on in your body. Now, this is an ideal gut. This is like you are on point. You probably feel amazing. If you have this gut, high five to you, right? Most of us don't. Living in the modern world these days. These are the things that come along and cause us to have leaky gut, causes those tight junctions to start opening up. So antibiotics, even as a baby, changes your gut microbiome. So if you had chronic earaches or sinus infections, or you had one of those doctors that just hands out an antibiotic for every single thing you go to them for, every round of antibiotics depletes your good bacteria. And without rebuilding it back up, It's really hard to get those good bacteria back. So with every round of antibiotics, you're weakening your first line of defense a little bit. So there's targeted things that we need to be doing to build that first line of defense back up. All the junk food that has chemicals in it. I mean, raise your hand if you grew up on like Cheetos and Doritos and Pop-Tarts and Kraft mac and cheese and Pepsi. Like that was what I did with my friends. We went to the store and we bought all that crap and ate whatever we wanted. We had no idea. We had no idea what was happening to our gut, but that is a really damaging thing to our gut. Standard American diet. The standard American diet is very low in real food like fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and things like that. And it's very, very high in fast food, processed food, food-like substances. So some food is so processed that it's really not even food anymore. And when it goes into your body, it becomes a toxin and it causes that gut damage. Most medications, all medications have some kind of side effect. And yes, some of them we need, some of them are life-saving. But sometimes we take too many, like some people take ibuprofen every day and a few different prescriptions every day and some of this and some of that. And that's too much. It's going to cause inflammation in your gut and start to do some damage. Excess sugar. So some sugar is fine. Some sugar is actually good. But the amount of sugar that people eat in America is alarming. It is alarming. And it is in food that it shouldn't be in. And it is doing a lot of damage. Fried foods. So deep frying your foods in canola oil, which is what almost every restaurant in America uses. Canola oil is basically a poison. And by the time we heat it up in the fryer and soak our food in it and then cool it and heat it and cool it and heat it and cool it and heat it, it's rancid. And so fried foods are so damaging. Now, I'm not saying never eat a fried food again, but let's get your gut stronger so that when you do eat a fried food, it can handle it, right? That's the goal. Stress is one of the most overlooked reasons for leaky gut. Every time we have stress, it affects our gut microbiome. Our digestion doesn't work right. We get food particles that aren't broken down because of our stress, and then they become toxic in the gut. It's a whole snowball of issues when we have too much stress. Pesticides, so glyphosate, you've probably heard me talk about glyphosate many times. The main ingredient Roundup directly causes leaky gut, and it's basically on all of our food. Excessive alcohol, drug use, smoking, that's probably all self-explanatory. Mycotoxins, so moldy things in our food or our home, things like that. Chemicals in our food, our water, our beauty products. All of these things come in and they just do a little bit of damage, little bit. But how many of these things have you had in your life? I've had every single one of these things, right? So when we pile all these things on top of each other, that's when the damage can happen. So this is what happens. We get these things, the stress, the antibiotics, the pathogens, the mycotoxins, the chemicals, and they all come through here and they start to degrade that mucosal barrier and degrade the good bacteria, that first line of defense. And then the damage to these cells starts to happen, the cells that are there to protect us. And then we get this. These are the damaged cells. This is what they're supposed to look like with the mucus layer here. And now we have no mucus. The cells are damaged. Look at the gaps between the cells. Now we get all these particles. Let's say this is bad bacteria. This is a pathogen. This is a toxin. LPS is lipopolysaccharides. These are natural occurrences in the body, but we don't want them sneaking through our body. We want them out of the body. So now these things come through the leaky gut, and now they're circulating through the rest of the body. So the technical term for this is intestinal hyperpermeability. We want it to be somewhat permeable, but when it becomes hyperpermeable, that's when all the bad stuff starts to happen. And so when we talk about leaky gut and we talk about all of these symptoms, like this is putting the puzzle pieces together, right? Does that make sense for you guys about how we can go from just some antibiotics to all these other things, or just some medications or whatever it might be? So it causes premature aging. All these lipopolysaccharides and toxins that are circulating through your body, starts to age your body. Like you start to break down in the rest of your body. You get sick more often. Your immune system is now depleted and damaged. And that's why some people get sick a lot more often than other people. Your belly fat, just like I was explaining before. Now the toxins have gotten through your leaky gut into your belly, into your body, and your belly fat is accumulating because it's protecting you. It's protecting your internal organs. So that belly is going to keep getting bigger, and that's the dangerous fat. That belly fat that surrounds your organs, that's the dangerous fat that leads to heart attacks and diabetes and obesity, right? And then these toxins need to get out of your body in some way, so they try and get out through your skin. So then we have acne, eczema, psoriasis, rashes, things like that. Sleeplessness. If your body is trying to fight off these toxins all the time that are coming into your body, you're not going to get very good sleep because your body's fighting. And when you are in deep sleep, that's when your body does all the magical processes that it needs to do. That's when it gets rid of toxins, builds new cells, gets rid of dead cells, all the important things. But if it's constantly fighting all these toxins coming into your body, it can't do all those processes. And then we can get depression, anxiety. Like I had anxiety for so many years. It actually just made my heart like skip a little beat. Then it's a vicious circle because your gut issues are causing anxiety, and then you have anxiety about your gut issues, and then you have anxiety about your anxiety, and it's just a whole circle, right? Heart issues. Now these toxins are getting into your blood. So when your doctor says you have high cholesterol, let's put you on a statin. Well, what's the real reason for having high cholesterol? Your cholesterol is trying to protect you. Your cholesterol is a good thing. The reason why your cholesterol is so high is the real thing that needs to be addressed. It's not the cholesterol's fault. That'd be like saying, well, it's raining, everyone has an umbrella, so we need to get rid of umbrellas. No, that's not the cause, right? The cholesterol is not the problem. It's why this protective mechanism is coming out. And it's probably due to leaky gut. And then joint pain. So these toxins can sneak out and settle in your joints, settle in your thyroid, right? Rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's. Not saying it's the only cause, but definitely saying it could be a contributing factor for sure of joint pain, thyroid issues, other autoimmune issues. And then that brain fog, right? Do you ever just get that like brain fog? You can't really remember everything and you can't really focus. Maybe you're having a hard time concentrating. Those lipopolysaccharides can attach to things that cross your blood-brain barrier. And now we've got brain issues. And I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people with dementia and Alzheimer's right now. And most of these things are preventable. Not all, but most. Most disease is preventable. Even if it's in your genes, doesn't matter. You can prevent it. It's called epigenetics, above genetics. So even if your mom and her mom and her mom and everybody else had it, it doesn't mean you have to have it, which is a good thing, right? And so we can prevent dementia. We can prevent Alzheimer's, diabetes, cancer, all of these things by taking the steps to protect our gut, which is going to protect the whole rest of our body, right? So to me, that's a good thing because if you have 27 different symptoms, but you can address them all by doing one thing, that's pretty amazing to me. So by just healing and sealing up your leaky gut, you can prevent so many other things from happening. So that is the how, the what, and the why of leaky gut. So tomorrow, we're going to be in the kitchen and we're going to be talking about food, how food affects the gut, either negatively or positively. And we're going to be making liquid gold, which is something that I make every single week for me and my family. And so we're going to make that in the kitchen. Then we're just going to talk about other foods, what to avoid, what to add, what might be your cause of leaky gut. Because the quality of our life is equal to the quality of the food we eat. That is 100% true. And so I have created, just for this workshop, just for you all in this group, a 7-day gut recovery meal plan. And it's a nice little booklet that I made that has targeted recipes that are good for healing the gut. And it's got a shopping list and everything with it. And I'm offering it for only $7, 7 days for $7. I used to sell meal plans when I first started as a health coach, and they were $47. And so this is only $7 because I want you guys to have a little tidbit of something that can really help you. Now, again, food is only one pillar. So the food is not going to solve your complete issue, but the quality of the food you eat is directly related to the quality of your life, like I said. So having that food piece is really important. So I'm going to drop the link to the 7-day gut recovery meal plan. And it's got breakfast, lunch, snacks for 7 days with shopping list. And it's really all targeted towards loving on and taking care of your gut. So that's just $7. Super simple, super healing. And it's like giving a hug to your gut is what I say. So that will be available for you all during this workshop. Drop any questions you have in the chat. Let's see. What kind of questions do we have? Let's put the old glasses on. What about reflux? Yes. So reflux, reflux is a sign that something is going on down below that's not good. And so when your body isn't digesting food well, for whatever reason, then we can start to get that pressure to come back up. And it's really, it's not low stomach acid. It's not high stomach acid, which that's why doctors put you on reflux meds, because they tell you have too much stomach acid, and that's why it's coming up. 99% of the time, it's not too much stomach acid. So now what we're doing is we're putting antacids into our body, which is causing our food to get broken down even less, which causes more reflux. So it's really a backwards system. The whole point of omeprazole, Zantac, these things, it says right on the label, shouldn't be taken more than 2 weeks, is to quell your symptoms while you figure out why you have reflux. So the goal is to figure out the why, but doctors will just prescribe it to you for the rest of your life. And meanwhile, it's causing more and more leaky gut, because what happens is when we aren't digesting our food well, because we've reduced our stomach acid, we need our stomach acid. We need it badly. We need it to be strong, and we need it to be hot. When we reduce our stomach acid, then our food just sits there. It doesn't get broken down. And then big chunks of food particles end up in your small intestine. They can't get absorbed, so they damage that mucosal barrier. They end up in our large intestine. They start to clog up the process. Now we're constipated, right? Or the body rushes water into the bowels to try and sweep these foods out, and then you get loose stools. So whichever one your body is doing, it's trying to keep you alive, always. So I never want to hear you say, "Oh, my body hates me." Please don't say that. Your body is trying to keep you alive. Always, 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 always. And so with reflux, we need to figure out what your root cause of your reflux is. We fix that, and then you get rid of the reflux for life. You don't have to take a pill every day that's making you worse, right? Does that make sense? What if you can't gain weight? Okay, so I actually have 3 clients right now, which I've never had that many before at one time. 3 clients that are all very underweight. And so our goal is to help them gain weight. And the whole thing is, so your leaky gut, or your gut lining, is where you absorb your nutrients, right? So those fingers I was talking about, those villi, that's where we absorb our nutrients. And so if those villi are damaged, then we're not absorbing very many nutrients. Then we can't use the nutrients for good. And now you are malnourished. And that's when you can start losing weight without intending to. So no matter what amount of food you put in your body, if you're not absorbing it, it's not doing you any good. So that's a 2-parter, gaining weight. We need to, first of all, get you nutrients that are pre-digested. And this goes for anyone with leaky gut. We need to get you simple nutrients that your body doesn't have to work really hard to break down, because your body isn't breaking things down well already. And those little fingers aren't absorbing. We need to help them out. We need to give them a little boost by giving your body easy things to absorb. And then we need to repair that gut lining. Those two things are going to help you gain weight. And I have all three of my clients right now. We're very slowly doing it, but all three of them are gaining weight right now. So they're really excited to see that. Gaining weight is harder than losing weight for most people. So it's tough. Yeah. Pantoprazole. Yeah. I think that's the same as omeprazole, possibly. Yeah. So just reducing the stomach acid, which reduces your digestive function. Really kind of backwards. Hashtag gut goals. Yeah. Yes. Gut goals, man. I like, it's almost hard for me to talk about. I get emotional because I know what it feels like to have gut issues, and it's scary. It's frustrating. You feel like you can't enjoy the other things that people can enjoy. I know it. And the way I feel now, I wish everyone could feel it. Like, I have hashtag gut goals, and it's not bragging. It's just saying that it's possible. I want you all to know that it is possible for you. And I get emotional because I wish I could share it with every single one of you and get every single one of you feeling like I feel right now. Yeah. So just keep knowing that it is possible. It is possible. I'm 45. I feel like I'm 25. Honestly, I have all day energy. I sleep through the night. I can eat whatever I want. I can go on all these vacations that I used to feel like shit on, and I would just stay in bed all day. You know, it's like I can live life. I can dream big. I can dream about the things I want to do in 20, 30 years, right? Because now that I know the tools, I will never let myself get to that place again. Once you have the tools, it's very simple to keep yourself healthy the rest of your life. It might be challenging in the beginning just to learn new things, but once you learn the tools, it's just your life now, right? Anxiety. So we've got the gut brain connection. So your gut and your brain talk back and forth to each other all day long through the vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is your main nerve in your body. It fingers down through all of your organs. And your gut and your brain talk back and forth to each other all day long through neurotransmitters. It's like the little communication devices from your gut to your brain and back and forth. And we create neurotransmitters and these hormones that communicate in our gut. And so if we are not creating them and we're not communicating to the brain, that's when we get anxiety. And we can literally see I do a gut test with every single one of my clients, a gut microbiome test. And we can see some people are completely missing the neurotransmitters that talk to the brain. Like, there's zero of them in their gut. So no wonder why they can't sleep and they have depression and anxiety, right? So that is just fixing that leaky gut and rebuilding your gut microbiome really strong. That three level situation that we talked about before: the microbiome, the mucosal barrier, and the gut lining. Building that back up, I would bet you'd get rid of your anxiety. Is there a common age that women begin to have digestive issues? All ages? It's common. I mean, there's 2,600 people in this group, and this is just one tiny Facebook group, right? And I had them since I was born. So one thing that people don't know is that if you're born C-section or if you're not breastfed, that's a recipe for gut issues. When we're born through the vaginal canal, the mouth is open and we get the mom's bacteria from the vagina and the anus. And that's how we populate our gut. If you're born C-section, none of that happens. So you can have much, much, much less bacteria in your gut. So you start out behind the 8 ball already when you're born. And there are things that can be done. You can swab the mom and then swab the baby's mouth, but people aren't doing that. As far as I know, they're not doing that. So that's a really scary thing. So that can start you out with gut issues. I have a client right now who's 7, and she has one of the worst gut tests I've ever seen. So it can start early, right? And it just depends on your history. Really depends on how many antibiotics you had as a child. that can be a big, big factor because you could start to have gut issues right after you get antibiotics if nothing was done to rebuild. It depends on what your parents fed you. Like my mom always made me a lovely dinner. We always had a really healthy dinner, but other than that, I was, at the freaking grocery store with my girlfriends, just spending our lunch money on garbage, So all of that contributes. Not being breastfed, when that first milk that comes out before the milk, it's not called milk, but it's called colostrum, right? Any of you have had babies, you probably know this. That colostrum is very intentional. When we're babies, we have leaky gut on purpose because we need to absorb everything from the mother, right? So we need to absorb everything in without being fed through the mouth, right? So how do we absorb nutrients if it's not through the mouth? We need to have that leaky gut. It has to be very leaky. And then the colostrum from the breast milk seals the leaky gut up. Mother Nature is brilliant, right? And so if you're never breastfed and you don't get that colostrum, then that is a recipe for leaky gut. And then if you have the duo, the C-section and not being breastfed, some work really needs to be done to get that baby up to speed. So that can cause all kinds of issues. And it's no one's fault. There's no blame. There's no shame for any of this. Sometimes there are reasons. There are very good reasons why you can't breastfeed or why you have to have a C-section, of course. But then there are just steps that can be taken to make sure that baby has a healthy gut. And then, another age is like college age. Because what do we all do when we graduate high school and move out of our house? We're like, woo, we can eat whatever we want. Let's just have pizza and beer and, all the things that we want to have. And so then college age and into the 20s is like, ooh, gut doesn't feel good, right? But if you never do the repair work, so even just changing the diet is good. So most people start to change their diet, after their 20s or whatever. But if we never did the repair work to the damage that was already done, then things start to get worse. And that's why a lot of people go, I don't know what's wrong. I eat a really healthy diet, so I don't know why I feel like shit. Well, the damage was already done. The repair work was never done. And now it's coming back to bite you in the ass. So we've got to do that repair work on that 3-layer process. So really any age is common because of all those factors that go into it. There's so many factors that go into it. Can you recommend a good probiotic? So the thing about probiotics is unless we test your gut, we have no idea which one is good for you. How many probiotics are there out there? 100,000? We have no idea which one is good for you unless we test your gut and see, do you have pathogens? Do you maybe have SIBO? Do you have an overgrowth of this one particular kind of bacteria or a way undergrowth of a particular kind, right? And so just taking a probiotic, so probiotics, they go into your body and they go out. They don't repair anything. So probiotics are Band-Aids, just like I said in that beginning part. And I love probiotics. I take one every day. But not knowing which one is right for you and not doing the other things to make sure that you are rebuilding that gut lining, the probiotic is a Band-Aid. And I can certainly recommend different brands. There's only 3 supplement brands that I use because supplements are not regulated in America. They don't have to they don't have to have in the bottle what it says on the label. It's terrible. So there's about 3 or 4 brands that I have known and trusted for a decade. And I've done the research. They get third-party tested and all of that. So I don't buy anything from the grocery store. Everything that I buy is vetted and studied and researched. So I could certainly recommend a few brands that I like. Just knowing that, it might not be the best thing for you unless I really did your gut test for you. But I would be happy to tell you guys my favorite brands if you like. Good questions, you guys. I love this interaction. Love it. Love it. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for staying to the end. I know we've gone over, but I'm super happy to go over. if we have questions. So awesome, you guys. So tomorrow we're in the kitchen, same time, 3:00 Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern, and we're just going to go over, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the food and how it affects our gut. And then day 3 is next best steps. Like now we know the what, the why, the how. We learn about the food, and then what are really the next best steps to address this and feel better for a lifetime. Right. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. And you can still drop questions anytime in the chat or message me. You're very welcome. Very welcome. Nice to see you all. So I'm always here. So reach out if you need me. And otherwise, I'll see you in the kitchen tomorrow. Have a good night.